statement, coalition spokesman Colonel Turki Al-Malki said Tuesday that coalition forces had intercepted and destroyed another explosive-laden drone en route to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia's Abha airport, the latest in a series of attempted attacks over the last week. The coalition, which is fighting in support of the UN-recognized government of Yemen against the Houthi militia, frequently says it has intercepted explosive-laden drones being fired from Yemen into the kingdom. The latest attack reportedly targeted Abha International Airport, which was hit by missile attacks in June of 2019. One civilian was killed and 47 others were injured. The United States on Tuesday vetoed a UN Security Council resolution on foreign militants because it did not address repatriation, an issue that has long pitted Washington against its European allies. The other 14 Council members voted in favor of the resolution drafted by Indonesia, isolating the United States. The United States wants foreign militants sent home and either prosecuted or rehabilitated there. European states, however, have been reluctant to try their nationals at home, citing difficulty in collecting evidence, concerns about a public backlash, and the risk of fresh attacks on European soil. French President Emmanuel Macron will mark Lebanon's centenary on Tuesday by planting a cedar tree, the emblem of the Middle East nation that is collapsing under the weight of a crippling economic crisis. In his second trip to Lebanon in less than a month, President Macron is expected to lean on Lebanon's fractious leaders to carry out economic reforms that are vital to getting the country out of the crisis and unlocking foreign aid. In the hours before his arrival, Lebanese leaders designated a new Prime Minister, Mustafa Adib, reaching a consensus among major parties. Turkey has extended until mid-September its controversial natural gas exploration mission in East Mediterranean waters claimed by Greece. Ankara deployed the Orak research vessel and warships to the disputed waters on August 10th and prolonged the mission twice, raising tensions with Greece and the rest of the EU. The most recent of the two extensions was until Tuesday, where Turkey announced that the mission would now be extended until September 12th. Hours earlier, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan said in a televised speech that the Orak Reef was continuing its activities with determination. Local media reported on Tuesday Japan's ruling party will vote September 14th on a replacement for Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, the country's longest-serving premier, who is resigning for health reasons. An official announcement from the Liberal Democratic Party is expected either later Tuesday or Wednesday, but a decision on a limited vote that will exclude rank-and-file members has already been approved. Candidates will be required to register their run on September 8th, with campaigning immediately after. Shootings that left 3 dead and protests against police brutality have stoked fears of rising violence as a deeply divided U.S. heads into elections amid economic collapse, a deadly pandemic, and the worst social upheaval since the 1960s. President Donald Trump hoping to secure a second term in November despite the crisis, heads Tuesday to Kenosha, the Wisconsin town which descended into violence last week after police shot a young black father 7 times in the back. The governor of the state called on President Trump in vain to reconsider his visit, warning it would hinder healing and arguing that the citizens of the town are already traumatized. Canadian researchers said on Tuesday they are investigating a popular superfood, the acai berry, as a treatment to prevent COVID-19's most severe symptoms. Past studies have shown that the berry's extract may act as an inflammation inhibitor, which doctors believe could help prohibit the severe inflammatory response caused by the virus. Scientists at the University of Toronto, who have studied the berry's effect on inflammation responses for nearly 5 years, are researching how it can be used to fight COVID-19. Hong Kong began a mass coronavirus testing program Tuesday, overshadowed by fears that China is using the scheme to harvest DNA, while the number of infections in the United States surpassed 6 million. The voluntary initiative in the southern Chinese city is offering free tests to millions of people in Hong Kong, as authorities worldwide continue efforts to stamp out an illness that has now killed almost 850,000 and infected over 25 million. But it comes as populations are increasingly wary of coronavirus curves and distrust grows in government's handling of the pandemic, with protesters taking to the streets in a number of major cities in recent days. German demonstrators against mask rules and other restrictions tried to storm parliament in the biggest of several European protests over the weekend. India's tally of coronavirus infections has surged to nearly 3.7 million as millions of masked students sat for college admission exams after the government refused to defer them. India, the world's third most affected country by the pandemic after the United States and Brazil, reported 69,921 new coronavirus infections on Tuesday, the lowest in 6 days. It took the overall number of cases to 3.69 million, while the death toll from COVID-19 rose by 819 to 65,288. French pupils go back to school on Tuesday as schools across Europe open their doors to greet returning pupils this month, nearly 6 months after the COVID-19 outbreak forced them to close, and despite rising infection rates across the continent. Many teachers and parents are worried the reopening of schools will accelerate the spread of COVID-19, but governments have insisted it should go ahead. French children returned to school on Tuesday after a 2-month-long summer break that followed 2 weeks of obligatory schooling just before the holidays. According to officials, a powerful 7-magnitude earthquake has struck off the coast of northern Chile, causing damage and prompting some people to evacuate as a precaution. An aftershock, which measured 6.3, followed within half an hour. The first earthquake struck early on Tuesday and was centered about 40 kilometers northwest of Carrizal Bajo, a village in the northern Atacama region. It was followed shortly by an aftershock. Chile's seismological agency said the initial earthquake measured 7 and struck about 31 kilometers below the seafloor, making it a shallow earthquake. The aftershock measured 6.1. The U.S. Geological Survey put the magnitudes at 6.8 and 6.3 respectively. Measures imposed in South Korea to blunt a surge in COVID-19 cases will hurt Asia's fourth biggest economy, the government warned on Tuesday after unprecedented restrictions went into effect in Seoul and surrounding areas. South Korea's economy shrunk by a seasonally adjusted 3.2% in the April to June period from the previous quarter, revised central bank data showed, the sharpest contraction since the final quarter of 2008. South Korean exports fell for a 6th straight month in August.